Saturday night and the lights go hot. SGPN on the mic at the Derby spot. Virtual Kentucky running live on the stream. 3 big races, 30 large in the dream.
10 grand heat after heat in the glow. Bed vibe flying down the line in the show. Paraquine pumping like a backstage drum. Photo finish live where the legends come.
Turn it up, let the numbers ride, and hear the chat roar. Worlds collide. SGPN run the show tonight. Derby in the clouds under neon light. FoalSS tomorrow, new hopes rise. Monday brings the babies with fire in their eyes. Stack those bets, let the thunder roll. Every heartbeat locked in one big goal. SGPN, let the wild run free. Paraquine in my hand, feel the energy.
Hosts crack jokes while the gates line up. Crowds going crazy as they fill that cup. Digital dirt fly when the bell hits loud. Every pick riding on the voice of the crowd.
Horses dig in when the backstretch calls. 100,000 dreams in those pixel walls. Stretch run hits and the chat explodes. SGPN driving down the final road.
Turn it up, let the numbers ride.
Hear the chat roar, worlds collide. SGPN run the show tonight. Derby in the clouds under neon light. FoalSS tomorrow, new hopes rise. Monday brings the babies with fire in their eyes. Stack those bets, let the thunder roll. Every heartbeat locked in one big goal. SGPN, let the wild run free. Paraquine in my hand, feel the energy.
Tomorrow's FoalSS.
New dreams coming.
New dreams coming.
Monday brings baby.
New season running.
FoalSS.
FoalSS. Let the future breathe.
SGPN run the show tonight. Derby in the clouds under neon light. FoalSS tomorrow, new hopes rise. Monday brings the babies with fire in their eyes. Stack those bets, let the thunder roll. Every heartbeat locked in one big goal. SGPN, let the wild run free. Paraquine in my hand.
Feel the energy.
And we are off for another episode of Run for the Roses here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. I am Ryan, real digital horseman and real kicked in the nuts by the NFL last week, Kramer. And I am joined by the chief horse officer of SGPN Stables and the breeder of the season 29 Kentucky Derby champion, Mr. Scott, man in the desert, Bowser. Bowser, how we doing today on this fine Friday?
Good. Doing some heavy lifting today, down in the mines, doing some digging, but yeah, we're getting there. We're getting there.
Well, I mean, let's start there. Let's just get it right out of the way. And by the way, you're watching Run for the Roses here, a photo finish live game. That's right, digital ponies. We'll be putting them on the screen in a second. And if you're interested in what we're talking about, DM us, hit us up, email me, do whatever you'd like, and sign up using the code SGPN so you can get into Turf Club, where we give horses away for free, where we give you breed discounts on Kentucky Derby champions, maybe, and where you will have access to the SGPN Dirt Classic and the SGPN Turf Classic. But yeah, let's get started. We do have a loaded show.
Yeah.
And up top, let's hit on some schedule stuff. We will be on next week. We're going to pre-record an episode for you. We're going to hit on some breeding. So plan is for that show to go live on Friday around this time. Like I said, that will be the breeding heavy hitter. We'll dive into some strategy. We'll dive into some of our reveals. And of course, we'll show you some of our best studs that you can have sweet sex with. But this week, We're going to touch on what's new in season 35, more compliments to the race activity, I think, at least from my perspective. We're going to talk about some of our new foals. And then we thought it would be a good idea to do a little deep dive on the SS foals that have arrived. I believe what are we up to now? 6 total?
6 total, yeah. And and if we're just keeping score, we had 1 2 seasons ago, and now for 5 this season. So we went without any for 1 season, but then we hit 5 now. It looks like we could be hitting the breaking point there, where we're going to start seeing more and more pile up each season.
Well, and we saw that with I don't have the graph on me, but when the first SS minus showed up in season 12, it took some time before we started getting any sort of critical mass. I think it was like another 6, 8 seasons before we even had a critical mass of a SS minus population. So it's going to take some time. I think from our perspective, we feel like we're still in the mix to catch up, so to speak.
Well, and we'll get into it then too. But I kind of if you look at it, I realize that when you're hitting SS early on, you really want to be having the stud, not the fillies, because your fillies aren't going to have as many options necessarily as the filly becomes kind of a bill for you at that point, where you got to find these perfect studs, whereas the stud's going to be a moneymaker for you. So yeah, so it's interesting when you look at these new 5, the male to female ratio there. It's kind of interesting.
And then best if we and this was a Bowser creation, but our first horse, not the first horse from our stable that has left us, but the first horse that has been with the journey with us the entire time, Mr. Lee, has moved on to greener pastures. And so we're going to close the show out with a little remembrance of Mr. Lee. Bowser, but you kind of touched on it on the top, and I mentioned this to you last week, that I got a literal encyclopedia of information from our guy Zedge about people out there in the mine. I guess we don't call it fracking, but they're out there in the mines. They're mining. There's
man,
ore involved. So you dove in a little bit. So you want to give the TMZ?
I would say the last 36 hours or so, I've been pretty deep in there. But here's what started for me was I saw that Ian, the Godfather himself here at Photo Finish, posted a thing about it being incorporated into races, and I saw it looked really cool how they were doing it into the races, and so I was like, well, I want to get in. I need to get in there and see what this is about. So just because they specifically said this would be great for streamers, and I was like, all right, well, that's something we do. So I want to be on top of this. I want my professional, And so, yeah. So if you look at the way it's set up on here, this is basically how it looks in in
Photo Finish.
No, but in ore.
Okay.
So like for ore, so it's ore.supply if you want to get there and play around with it. But basically there's like these 25 tiles set up like that, right? And you take Solana and you spread it on each one. Now, each time, every round, and each round is about a minute apart, but there's like a few seconds of processing. So figure about 65 seconds or so total round around. But what it does is like it picks, so we're on it right now. You see that one of these is going to be selected, and then whoever has that. Now, if you look over to that site where the miners, there's one ore is distributed on that one, right? And you saw how it was split between all the wallets, and the Solana that went in on there is also split between the wallets. Now, it's a 50-50 shot. Either that one ore is split between all those wallets, or one of those wallets catches in on it by itself.
And that's determined just by some sort of random roll.
Yeah. And so this is just basically just like a random, it's like a Keno drawing. I mean, it really, it really reminds me of that. But like, so as you're unlocking this, we see the mother load up there. there's 0.2 is added on every round until a certain combination of numbers is hit, and then the mother load. So a mother load hit earlier today. It was like 220 or something like that.
Wow.
So they're kind of bringing, and that was like a $40,000 worth of pot. We cashed for like $20 of it on like a fucking 30-cent bet. So that was not, like.
And so we're essentially, and the benefit, just to tie it back to photo finish, the benefit to photo finish is, are you fully aware of that?
What's that?
Well, how does this tie into photo finish?
So they're going to incorporate a smaller version of what's going on here, but this protocol into photo finish, so people will be able to select a tile on a horse, and then that money is going to get distributed in between the races. And there's also going to be like a mother load type thing, where if your race has the certain combination on the blockchain of numbers and it matches, then the winner of the race will get 50% of that jackpot, and the rest of the horses in that race, the rest of the stables, split the remaining 50% of that jackpot. So, like, whether we like it or not, it's coming to photo finish. And so, it's good to know how this stuff works, because there is a lot of staking opportunity in it and whatnot. I was just looking at the numbers, and so when you're actually in ore and you're mining, I see the SW Golf Academy is in the mines right now. But yeah, so like as you're mining, your ore goes into unrefined ore, and as long as you let it sit there unrefined, I found a website that kind of broke down the math on it. This is incredible, right? Like, dude, guess how much okay, first off, if you just want to stake your refined ore, that's about 17% APR. Not bad, right? I mean, that's a pretty good deal. But on this unrefined ore, if you just don't claim it and let it sit there, you earn on everybody else, and that's about 89% APR annualized.
Yeah, I'm scrolling around on Zedge's feed right now, and I see a lot of people essentially promoting the same thing. I will say, like, just kind of scanning through some stuff, it does seem like there potentially is going to be some sort of I don't want to speak out of turn, but it seems like maybe there's going to be some sort of crown related buyback related to this.
Yeah, and so the way, like, if you go onto the ore.supply, they have a whole about page on there, and it'll explain it. Well, they do a pretty good job explaining it pretty quickly, but the way the tokenomics work is there's all kinds of levers and mechanics and buybacks. And so, like I said, if you have your refined ore and your unrefined ore as you're mining it, if you pull it all out, you get the refined ore, you get to keep 100% of it, but you have to give 10% back on the unrefined stuff that you've mined. And so it's kind of a lever from keep people, to keep some liquidity and whatnot. And then from there, it goes into these other pools where there's constantly buybacks and shifts. So when whales try and sell out big, it ends up just kind of getting redistributed back to everybody else in different ways. So,
well, it sounds like I have some reading to do. It also sounds like if you're listening to this, you probably also have some reading to do. So ore.supply, I saw there was a decent amount of conversation going on in the Discord, and yeah, just in general, there's a lot. Now that I'm looking around, a lot of heat on the old social media going with this. So
yeah, I mean, just like a few weeks ago, this was like at $10-11. It went up to like 475, and now it's settled in around 200. And so we're seeing some big swings on it right now. But I think the mechanics of this is pretty fascinating, because it's really like you have dude, if you're playing it right, you really have a shot to cash big for not much, because of the sol. Most of that sol is coming back. Like only 10% of the sol is getting taken out of each go around. So there's definitely some positive EV angles. And I was just looking at this website that it's called Refine Ore, REFINORE.com. And yeah, they've kind of created like an EV calculator for all the staking and keeping it unrefined. And, it kind of breaks down draw to draw where your percentages lie. So it's really interesting. But like, I also see how this really applies to this, because like for people that are into ore, all of a sudden they have another mining opportunity. Like, let's just say watching our Kentucky Derby stream.
Yeah, I mean, again, this without having done anything more than the TLDR. It does just seem like another thing the team is looking to do to generate activity in and around the game. And so,
yeah, and this is one of the bigger things going on the Solana blockchain right now. And so it would make sense to kind of hitch your wagon to it if you're also on the Solana blockchain. That makes so much sense to me. Yeah.
I assume if Zedge is pumping something, it's either going to be awesome or go to zero. I think that's just the general rule of crypto in general. But yeah, yeah, when he reached out, I was like, all right, let's take a look at this. And now you bring it to the game. It sounds like we're already in. It sounds like SGPN Stables already hired a couple guys and got a pickaxe.
Yeah, we got a couple of pickaxes down there. We cashed for a piece of the mother load earlier, but I do feel like there is an angle or when the mother load hits a certain number, you start putting it in and then you just like put it in for the next 50 draws. If you don't hit it on that, raise it a little, start doing a ladder. Like there's a way to do this.
I think, don't they also call that the martingale?
yeah. But this is guaranteed to hit. Like I think it's only broken over 300 a couple times. So when it hits that 200 zone, the way it was earlier this morning, it's like, you're gonna want to get in on that. Like maybe
it's like slots. It's like you mentioned to me earlier offline. It's like slot sniping.
Yeah.
And quick mining anecdote. It was recently brought to my attention that the Charlotte football basketball collegiate program logo has a axe built into the C.
Yeah, I heard you guys talking about that on the college episode,
which is wild. If like they are the 49ers.
Yes,
they're the Charlotte 49ers, and everyone knows the San Francisco 49ers. What are they named after? Well,
the Gold Rush. Yeah,
the Gold Rush of 1849.
Yes.
Now, Charlotte is named after the year 1949 when the college almost went under and it was saved by a benefactor. And so they named themselves the 49ers. It has nothing to do with mining. It's the craziest thing I've ever seen. Anyway, back to So I
Texas A&M. What does an Aggie have to do with those fake soldiers they got?
Well, that's a whole different conversation. With the mine, we were discussing mining.
What the fuck Yahoo? Dude, this is college sports, man. We can go just down the line with this stuff, dude. So.
It sounds like we're miners and horsemen. So shout out to anyone who's looking to get involved. Shout out to all the miners down there hanging out with the Canaries. All right, Bowser. What do you want to hop into next?
Let's take a look at our new foals. I think we had a good little crop here, and then that'll be a good bridge before we go into the SS stuff that people definitely want to hear our thoughts on, I'm sure. But I thought we had a good crop this season. We talked in our breeding episodes last season about how we're going to be focusing more on stars, how we realize stars, how truly important this stuff is. And brother, just on the SS minus alone, right? Oh yeah, Kaiserin. I already named the one because that was a good one. That's basically like a lady Kaiser in old school Germany. So
331. Very nice reveal though for an SS minus.
Yeah, especially for that Philly. Yeah. So hopefully this is going to get us, into the SS world. Eventually, maybe not this next generation, but the generation after. But click on the stud there, Nesio. Very glad because as you see, big time winner, was a major winner, won the Twin Spires sprint in season 27. We covered that in our show at the Win. That was the first stream we did. So kind of cool that we're now getting his blood into our stable in a really good spot.
Not only that, but qualified for the Harbor Classic sprint too.
Yeah, I wanted to point that out that he comes from one of these kind of very interesting bloodlines where, because if you look through his turf races, dude, he wasn't bad in the
if you're qualifying for a major, you're a pretty decent horse. Now granted, this is still how many seasons ago when we didn't have as much firm representation. But yeah, 2027. But I mean, to your point, if you're qualifying for a winning a G2,
yeah, going wire to wire with an 85 in that.
I mean, again, probably benefited from the good roll here, but still, I mean, that's an impressive feat. Anyway,
look at his stars, right? Pretty good profile of the 2.5, 3, 1.5. But if you look at what we got with our full here, we definitely got a nice up roll in the stars with the 3-3-1. I felt when you look at the two parents side by side, where the mom is a 2-2.5 0, and we rolled those two into a 3-3-1. That's wonderful, dude.
Well, and Local Hustler was one of those reveals we had that was a little bit surprising. Didn't do
Yeah.
a ton on the track, but had a pretty nice filly. You know, this is a nice base level filly right here, right? Because not only can we go both ways, but
Yeah,
you know,
and it's only 4.5 stars, but they're concentrated in the left and dirt. If those 4.5 was like a 1-1-1 and you know kind of thing, it loses its luster. But the fact that they're concentrated there, that gives us something to work with. And as you see, it produced a 3-3-1 here on the SS minus scale because of those grades. And even though look at Nesio, he's only 2.5 left. So a 2.5 left and a 2 left produced a 3 left. Well, pretty much every time we've gotten that kind of star up roll in our, like we've had good success with those horses. He's Ready to Gig being a great example of that, our Kentucky Derby winner, where he kind of up rolled the parent stars. And so we go back and look at this fucking breed report. It's nice because especially with that temper and heart combo potentially, right? Like you look at that and you look wherever the other stuff fills in, as long as we hit on those two traits, I feel like we're going to get some good stuff out of this just going forward.
yeah, it feels like the median reveal here is bumping up against SS minus anyway. And so like I feel like there's a little bit of a surprise element to, do we get an uprolled SS minus, which then, obviously could become very, very interesting in our stable, being a filly, being by the time she hits the breed barn, there's going to be SSs we'll be able to hit it with. Yeah, I was going to say, this is, I saw you named it because I was making some notes on the flight out to Vegas today, just like which foals am I most excited for? This is one because this is the kind of foal where even if it sucks on the track, it's like cool. This is going to be a great piece.
Yeah. It's kind of hard for us to not enjoy what this, and it just good overall genetics and everything. But yeah, I feel like getting that major championship into the SS, like when you take a shot with a major champ like that, getting the star up roll so nice.
Well, yeah, getting basically everything. I mean, we at this point we have to assume up roll occurred, and then knowing that Lucky Dog has been a great producer of horses, Casino's Blood has obviously been great. I feel like this is a
Lemon Royale over there is
yeah.
Spring Stacker. Yeah, so
I'll be honest, like this is the kind of horse, I know we don't do it a ton, but this is the kind of horse I think we probably open the season, throw it in a G1. Now, well, if they still have the G1s to start the season, I think this would be a candidate to maybe throw in one of those.
Yeah, no, I mean, especially too, because if you get that yielding roll, I think this horse is very live in a lot of situations with that star profile.
Yeah, we're seeing that with Taco Mama, one of our horses right now, where it almost yielding is like its superpower, and when it's not yielding, it's not necessarily the same. But boy, which makes it pretty interesting to select races. All right, let's head back to our foals.
Yeah, because that was the female we got out of our SS minuses. We got 3 males again. We're rolling in the colts, but like I said, like when you're first getting to this part of it, it's good to have a lot of male in-house options with this SS minus grade. That cuts it down on our costs for pumping that into our bloodlines and then getting these better females at the SS minus level that we can now go out and pay up on with these better studs out there. So it does serve a purpose to have a lot of males for us right now. So I do believe that. But that being said, it'd be nice to have a few more females at this point. But
well, having more, I think what it does for us specifically is the more SS minus colts we can retire, the pickier we can become on which ones we use.
Yeah,
I'll use the example of we had a claimer, Black Jam, and Black Jam had a great reveal from a subgrades perspective and was very permissive, very, very available to our mares, and so we used it a lot. And it's one of those horses where if we looked at what it's created probably some nice breed pieces, but I don't know if we've had a ton of on-track success, and it's because it's the best of what we had. And I think that's the real story for me, is like the more SS minuses we can get in there, the less likely we are to rely on ones that maybe are just compatible. Versus ones that are actually good. And hitting on Commandant early on as an SS minus certainly helped that. All right, so what other foals you want to spotlight?
Well, I wanted to spotlight the foal of Oklahoma Drill there. This was a big surprise for me. I was not expecting to get this SS minus reveal here. We did it with Hot Crawfish this was Italian Herpes. Never mind. That is one I was kind of expecting to get one on. We're now 2 for 2 with Italian Herpes though, going to breed with him and getting an SS minus. And if you click on him, his overall percentage, I mean, we'll get into him again next week on the breeding episode, because I think it's worth noting he is producing a lot of SS minus foals. So if you want to get in on the SS minus world, this is a damn good minimum stud for you to do it with. I mean, look at that, dude.
Yeah, I mean, the ratio is certainly like 3/4, and which is always, I mean, obviously having some of these higher traits plus the temper makes it a pretty, I mean, it's a nice flat result. And based on what it's producing, perhaps these are not quite what they seem, maybe on the higher end.
But yeah, and then there was the full of Ghost to the Post. That was the one I think it was. I was really surprised. Put it this way, it's kind of a last second breed idea, because we had retired it and I was looking at it and I wasn't too thrilled with the stars, but the reveal was good enough on the grades where I was like, well, let's try it out. And it immediately produces an SS minus.
Well, first off, I already had this pulled up, so let's just look at this real quick. This was the Oklahoma Drill one. So when you look at this breed report, what about it? Like, what makes you expect the SS minus here?
Well, I saw the way that the two parents it was mostly about looking at the two sets of grades between them. And I realized there's a fat kind of, from like a sports gambling perspective, like there was a fat middle there where we can kind of hit, where we didn't have to quite hit everything perfectly. And it still left the door open for an SS minus in a lot of ways. I mean, you see, this also could have been an S very easily.
Yeah, I mean, I think the nature of the uproll combined with the wider ranges, but one thing on this one,
I really wanted to get the speed and finish. Like, I knew we had a shot to really hit something there, and so it was like, if we can just get the rest somewhat there. It's like, normally when we see this kind of arrow shape on there, that usually tends to be more of a stayer, right? Especially if the better the stamina is there. But when they have that speed, stamina, finish, heart combo, we're starting to look at that stayer territory. But yeah, no, but just Italian Herpes in general, man. The guy, when they have multiple SS traits, that's probably something you want to get involved with,
Yeah, and honestly, I think like when I see this, it's like, okay, well, if we did hit the up roll down here, we definitely have a horse that's going to compete. If we don't, I think there's like three options here, or really two options. I think one, we hit something and it's going to be a competitive horse because it has good enough speed, good enough stamina, and very good finish and the heart up rolled. I think if it's bad or not good on track, I still think we might have a good reveal, and we're going to have some like as we would call it, like a zero the hard way. We're going to have some SS, maybe an S or an S minus trait mixed in with some higher stuff,
like SS plus stuff. Yeah, I could definitely be in play.
All right, so you said you wanted to
Ghost to the Post one.
Ghost to the Post.
Yeah, this was okay. Now, Hot Crawfish is one we bred. I really wish it would have had better on track success for us. It didn't quite have the temper or heart to get there, but it came from Oysters for Lunch, one of ours that we bred through Lucy Juice, which is one of the epic Gen 1 horses in the game, in the history of it. And then on the other side, Law of the Dial, very good horse, major winner out of Absolute Horsepower, with that good 331 profile we're looking for, right? And I felt like just on the surface, this was a great match for Oysters for lunch here, because she's kind of all over the place. She's, you know, got the kind of that hard way, as you would you just said, and I felt like he was a lot flatter. We were willing to punt on the temper there, but look what happened. Both parents had the S minus temper. We were okay with punting on it, but we still got the up roll there, right? And so because we were willing to punt there, I feel we got a better horse overall. Where now the heart's not as big of an issue from the mom, or her A+ heart isn't affecting this grade as much, right? So now let's go down to the other side and take a look.
Something else I would point out is I mean, we could go back further. I doubt you're going to see it, but the creation of SS in this bloodline not coming from anywhere, just smashing 2 SS minuses together, like that also kind of makes me believe there's upward pressure.
There's a little something under the hood here kind of thing, right? And well, goes to the post, had this great speed with the heart finish reveal. And so I was like, well, this seemed like kind of an obvious candidate for me, where if we could just get her, once again, let's just ignore the temper here. If we can just get her stamina up from this guy, this is a very good reveal, you know. And that was kind of my thing, but I was expecting another stronger S+. I was hoping to get his stars into her bloodline to really be on, you know. That was kind of the main priority here. But what ended up happening is we got a good up roll and an SS minus. So I wouldn't call it a happy accident or anything like that, but it is, you know, like it's one of those calculated risks. Now, I wish we would have got a better heart star roll on this one, but we'll take the 5.5. It shows something. If we take any of our S now for like breeding in house, this would probably be, you know, obviously an in-house breeder for us, but we would, depending on his role, we're just really looking to find those S pluses with the elite stars, right? And get that into this line. And if we can get some SS minuses out of that, where we keep upping the stars and improving this stuff as we go along, we're looking really good in a couple generations.
Well, and just expanding our S+ population and getting closer to having more of those 3-3 profiles as we get more of the SS minuses. Obviously, that makes them more available because we have better canvases to put them into.
Yep.
Here's the breed report for this one.
Yeah. So when we see like the backward slash kind of backslash shape, that usually is in more line with a sprinter. So I definitely think we'll probably want to try this one out in sprints early on. I think that's going to be the way to go. Wide range on the heart, which is really interesting. And there's a chance this one has that. We've seen it before. We saw it this week when we'll get into this one on next week's episode, but we did get our first triple S minus trait reveal. And so, dude, having seen it now, this is in play for that, I think, big time, right? Because we're
certainly on the upper bound. I mean, it would be a surprise,
but the median right here seems like an SS straight up on the start. So triple S minus isn't that big of an up roll when you look at it that way, you know, even though S is in place still as well, if it's a crazy down roll. But
yeah, honestly, I think if I'm like hoping for anything in this one, I kind of hope we up roll the finish in heart, speed, stamina where it's at, and the start is an SS. I think that could still be a pretty good sprinter.
Yeah. So but I definitely think it's something fun to work with here. You know, I would have liked a little bit better stars, but what are you going to do when I'm willing to take off. I'm willing to not have the stars if I'm having this kind of potential profile on the breed report, right? Because this looks like a flat SS minus for the most part.
Yeah.
And so why wouldn't if we can get that kind of, why wouldn't we do it?
Why wouldn't we do it is a great question to ask all the time.
Yeah, that's like ore mining.
Yeah. Why wouldn't we do it?
Why wouldn't we do this? Everybody else is doing it. My friends all told me to jump off the bridge. I did it too, Mom. Come on.
Should we look at Full of Turning Stones?
Sure, yeah. This is one I really like. This was with Commandant. So our first really good SS minus horse that we had in the stable immediately produced an SS minus for us. You got to love that, right?
Love that.
I think this is the only SS minus that he produced. So, but yeah, once again, coming through that little star Fazzoletti line, and then with product market fit on the other side, like Yeah, this could be a really interesting one because if you look at this, there seems to be kind of wild outlier up rolls in grade overall, right? Little Star is the crazy outlier between those two, right? Thug in the Sheets is a pretty big outlier between those two S's, right? You know, and so the fact that he's kind of hit that historically, when I see this stuff in Bloodlines, when it doesn't go up, then they're usually really good for that grade.
Well, yeah, they should possess strong. And to your point on the grade up rolls, I mean, kind of exists on the other side.
On the other side too, yeah. So, yeah, I'm really excited to see what we end up getting out of this because yeah, you look on the mom side, only the one great grandpa parent is over S plus, pretty much, you know, even an S minus great grandmother. So, yeah, this is a bloodline with a lot of potential, I feel.
Yeah, and just in general, like both parents did well relative to their parents' traits, I think. All right, here's the old breed report. I mean, look at some of those ranges.
That's no touchback. That's a different horse.
Oh, what did I? Oh, whoops. That's a fun looking one though, since we're staring at it.
Yeah.
And shout out to the Turning Stone. If you're not familiar, it's a fabulous 18 to gamble casino up in Verona, New York, outside of Syracuse. This is a nice. So now seeing this report, you know, again, it wouldn't take much for it to be an SS minus as is, and so it becomes the question: did we get an uproll? Because if we got an uproll, it's probably going to have some decent on track abilities.
Well, if we got that wild like start stamina combo, let's say, that could be really interesting if it uprolled there over the other spots, because now then it could be one of those horses that can really run at almost any distance, and so. Or just could end up being a fucking killer gallop runner or something like that. But yeah, dude, I really like what this one could possibly be because, you know, we've talked about our, you know, we don't haven't been worried much about temper. This one still has a very good shot for good temper, you know, like.
Well, you got to see this. All right, so I've never. All right, so the range here was between. What are we at? Oh, never mind. This is 1, 2, okay. So between take back on my excitement, 2 and 3 left stars, 2 and 3 dirt stars, and 1 and 3 firm.
Yeah.
And we ended up what on kind of on the low end. So what I was gonna say is, how often have we had? I guess we kind of hit a median roll, low on the left, but everything else was fine.
Yeah, we pretty much hit the other two on the median with a downturn on the left, but we're okay with that. We saw what his dad did with only 2 left stars, so you know, like. But once again, like this horse gets really interesting with any 3-star left females. We have S plus and below, you know, like.
Yeah, no, definitely. Like you said, just as we add to our barn, it just makes things easier. All right, let's any other non-SS minuses you care to talk about?
Not really.
I'll just casually. We have another LTF horse to talk about.
Oh, I will say that we got 3 more actually. But Island Girls, the full of Island Girls, that would be the one if I was going to talk about any of these, just because once again, that's just a good star up roll compared to where the mom starred. If you look at Island Girls, she really doesn't have much of a, you know, 4.5 stars, a 2.5, 2. It's not much to speak of. But look, we pounded her. Look at. Well, first off, look at the grades, right? She's lacking in stamina and temper, but she's got very good profile elsewhere. So we go up, and who did we pound her with? Oh, Roman Surprise, our High Court Championship winner. Pretty good speed roll, but where's his strength? It's that SS stamina. So if we got a good stamina roll here, this could end up being a really good horse because she could end up bumping up his finish and speed and whatnot. So yeah.
Also, I was gonna say I'm in general just quickly pulling up Roman Surprise's kids. I'm excited for all of Roman Surprise's kids. I get overly excited for all of our winners' kids.
Yeah,
if
no,
anything.
I gotta throw some cold water on that sometimes, just because it's like, well, they're not all gonna hit, you know, and we, you know, when it's just one of those. Because here's the thing: is if we start getting too obsessed with that, we've had winners come out of non-winners, and so then it might cause us to miss out on the next He's Ready to Gig or Commandant because we're so focused on their kids. And so
I know. Can I show you one that I'm actually do we want? I want to pull up one that I'm excited for. Racing only. Foal of Mona Lisa.
Mona Lisa Smile.
Yes. Foal of Mona Lisa Smile. The horse I can never get the name right.
He's Ready to Gig as the dad, yeah.
Derby champion, He's Ready to Gig as the father. Mona Lisa Smile, who was not too bad herself on the female side, and Bowser, the star roll here. I mean, 1.5 firm and 2 firm gives us 2.5 firm. 2.5 dirt and 3 dirt gives us 2.5. And I mean, we basically hit the low end on the left in the dirt, but we got this full firm profile. And I will say we haven't had a champion or a horse full firm in a while that has that's kind of funny as I say it out loud. Full firm that has had a chance to do something. This one excites me because both parents were successful on track. I know you're going to throw some cold water on me.
No, I mean, it's always good. I mean, I'm never going to hey, I would like to only ever have horses where both parents were good one day, you know, like that's the direction we got to trend. But we've seen these winners. Where have we seen winners come from? Well, we've seen them come from surprising places
everywhere.
So yeah, that's one thing that we can learn is if we've learned anything these last few seasons, it's as long as the stars are there, you could get a great outlier, right?
Yeah, and for this one, if we can get if this horse can have enough speed, I think it's going to be.
This was that was because that was kind of Roman Surprise's problem was the speed, and so yeah, if any
this
kind
is
of speed,
He's Ready to Gig, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's He's Ready to Gig. That's right. Yeah, maybe not the best speed profile, but it's got a chance to uproll in other places, and so yeah, we'll see. Definitely interesting with the stars and everything, and should be a good breeding piece for us in the future. So,
let's see. Any I have an S horse that I marked as something that was interesting.
Okay, yeah, I'm done.
All right, last one, and again, it's because Deuces Wild is one of my favorite horses ever. And yeah, we have an 8.5 star S filly. We have seen Deuces Wild's children's create stuff too, and so this is going to be an interesting one. Made with Deuces Wild and Chingagook.
You said it, not me.
Hopefully I pronounced that correctly.
If you look, that's a Hand of Zedge horse. So straight from the ore mines to our breeding to our stable. Now click on him because I believe he's another one who had a wild major history. Look, the 8.5 stars. We're always gonna like that, right? But yeah, the Twin Stars Gallop. Yeah, I couldn't remember if it was the Gallop or but look at that Gallop run, dude. Won it in season 26, so it was a while ago. Dropped a 91 in that motherfucker, dude.
I mean, that makes me think it won by margin. Let's see, 88 was second place, so a pretty fast Gallop race for that season.
Well, and it was a yielding one.
Oh, that's why. There you go.
It's got the 2.5 stars soft though, so I mean, this is a fucking great bloodline that we were able to put in. You know, I wanted to keep that star profile together, and the fact that we got this was a female is really important to me because I want to breed this up to our better stuff at the top. And yeah, I like this one too a lot.
This becomes useful immediately. Probably. All right.
Let's take a look at these SS's as we talk about breeding to the top, because as you get to the higher grades, guess what? You have less options in the bloodline diversity, most likely. Everybody at the top starts fucking each other and they all get the same herpes, right? See Epstein Island, everybody. No, but so this is the first one I pulled up. Look, we've seen it. So far, the first SS horse was on right dirt firm. Out of these 5, 4 of them are right dirt firm. One of them is left dirt firm. So the fact
give you an idea, right dirt,
right
ahead.
dirt, much more. And like Sowers talked about this on one of the streams he did, but it was just like, if you want to know where everything else in the game's headed, look at right dirt, because they're kind of on the avant-garde. They're kind of out there in front of everything, and everything else kind of slowly catches up in the next few seasons. And we're seeing that already, right? We got that first outlier now in left dirt, but we've gotten a few in right dirt. So the parents, pretty interesting here. But I think the most important thing is go to the top, go up to this horse. It's a female. So now, do you breed it like, okay, with a 3, 2, 1, 6-star profile? Not bad. But when it's I mean, first off, you're gonna have a racing career with her. I would almost race her longer. I know people would want to get her into the breeding barn as quick as possible, but unless I see the perfect matches in there, I wouldn't be rushing to do it.
You almost just have to hope the other SS horses are compatible.
Yeah, well, but here's the problem. Go to the next one, Ryan. It's another female.
Oh, okay.
And so this one, I think, got a better star roll overall, right?
Yeah.
You know, it's at the 2.5 firm, even though it's only the 2.5 right. I'll gladly take this 7-star. But once again, do you breed it for stars to try and hammer that profile at the top? Or are you just trying, this horse has good enough stars where maybe you're just trying to find males that, just the best male you can possibly get that's balancing out whatever trait it might be missing. But at this point, and if you're an SS, you're probably not missing.
Well, and that's where it's like you're just finding the best SS minus thing, because you're not wasting
you're not wasting the woo. But once again, I'm saying since we're seeing so many females now over here, it might be best to keep racing them a little longer if they're just printing money for you on the track. Like, because there's no guarantee their kids are going to come out this grade. Let's with what's out there on the stud market right now. So just something to keep an eye on. I'm glad I'm not in this position. I mean,
but surely the next one's going to be a male.
No, nope. We have another one. Now this one, with the star pro, okay, only 4 stars, but with the 0 stars on the firm, you have RDS and RDF to breed with at least. So you are opening up more options with this. But once again, a 3rd female now. So Sauer is getting that male that last cycle. Dear God, he's hoping that he's compatible with these 3, because now it's name your price, right?
Yeah. Because but there has to be, there's 4 right dirt firm. Wait, are there 3 or 4?
There's 4. And so, okay, yeah, and yes, the final one is a male now.
Oh wait, I think you might have sent me the same link twice. I had full of Scott Pendleton twice. Let me see here.
Do you have the one for Indian Explorer?
No.
Okay, I'll send that to you right now then.
Oh man, that's pretty wild to have all the
Yeah, so we just I think there's something where it kind of changes the dynamics to a degree of how this early SS population in right there is going to go when when 3 out of the first 5. I just sent you one.
Yeah, you sent me the same one. Scott Pendlebury.
Did I?
Yeah.
Okay. Because that's not what it's on my screen.
Maybe just in copy.
All right. This is definitely it.
I like how I like also how you're spinning it, because we don't have one as a negative to get an SS. I'm just saying that at this point over there where they're all you when you get in there early, you want to be getting the males there, right? Yeah,
because
definitely.
You want the stud covers, you want all that. That I'm not saying it's bad to get it either way first, but like this at this point in the game, in these SSs, you want the colts, you want the males, because that becomes dude, you're gonna sell stud covers almost no matter what it does on the track, right? Because you're the first to hit that grade. Whereas if you get the first females over there, you're kind of like, all right, well, you really got to get clever there. And so
you sent me the same link. Just tell me the stable name.
okay, Maja 200. For the record, it's not the same one.
No, I'm just, if you look in the chat, how do you spell it? Give me the first 4 letters of that stable.
It's even harder to do. Let me just try it again.
I do have the Tombstone one we can look at.
No, that's old news, man. That's old news.
But I mean,
okay, this should be the same one, but
it's the same.
Why is it going to that fucking horse?
I don't know.
Oh, dude, fuck this guy, dude. Yeah, fuck this horse, dude. Let's not even talk about it.
But this,
you gotta list it for. Oh, just go to the horse, the SS that's listed for $1 million on the market. You'll find it.
Okay. But Tombstone, I mean, assuming I saw Enduro in the family tree of one of the other ones, but assuming you're compatible with this horse will be on the market, right? Like, it's 2 seasons ahead. Assuming you're compatible, you're just making a kid with that just cuz, right?
Yeah. Okay. I think I got it now. Oh God, no.
I got it.
So yeah, this is the
$1 million.
They had $1 million. Yeah, I listed it for $1 million. I look, if it races, then it's worth it. If it performs on the track, it's worth it because it will sell some stud covers in the 5 figures, right? Probably 15K plus at least.
And yeah, I was gonna guess 16K. And this has the same Enduro, which is one of the great champions, or I don't even know if it was a great champion, but it certainly had a great reveal. It certainly seems to be in the bloodline for a lot of these.
So okay, right there, then that's now kind of causing a backlog with what you're eligible with. So it's better to have this guy and all the SS minuses 1 a pound with him than
yeah, this is wild. I don't think any of these SSs are compatible with each other. So I mean, congratulations to everyone. But like Bowser said, you're a loser. You can't even breed it. Got there too soon. Should we look at the left dirt?
It's one of those things where normally, like on the SS minuses, it's a coin toss, and I'm happy for either side of the coin, right? With the SS minuses, but with the SS, it's like you really want to be on those males early on because that opens up a lot for you. So,
all right, let's look at the one that we're going to care about a little bit more because it turns left.
Yeah, so this one's out of Mile High.
Shout out to Mile High.
That's a Mile High. Good to see him get this. Now, just on the stars alone, fantastic reveal, right? A 3, 2.5, 1. Because you can talk yourself into pounding this with different SS minuses, right? I mean, LDS horses.
This is selling out season 1.
Yeah, the first one. Now look at that just the father alone, right? Adrian's with the SS plus heart, a flat SS minus the rest of the way with S plus temper. That is one hell of a reveal, right? And the fact that he came at it, see, this is the kind of breed I would do as well, is to try and create this SS minus, because that one's that's such a good SS minus flat across the top there. But you got to get the stars. Now, this is great star uproll here if you're paying, because the parents are both 2.5 and 2 left, and he got the 3. That is huge. Like that just added a few K per pop to him, right?
And this was yeah, I mean, to your point, I mean, this is a hell of, I want, so this is going to be a sprinter, I would assume.
Yeah, and you're avoiding a lot of major stuff that we've seen in this stuff over there lately. Avoiding a lot of the major stuff on the dad side. On the mob side, got the sprinter Sacker and Little Star in there, but for the most part, this should have some pretty good blood permissiveness overall. So, like, if you ask me on which one I think is going to just be just pure stud market value, this one probably has the most out of these 4. Well, one, because out of these 2 males that were revealed, because first off, this is the first left dirt, but also I just think it's gonna be more permissive with the top end over there. So,
what are you setting the stud cover on this guy?
I mean, fuck,
16.
I think it depends on how it runs. if it wins a sprint, if it wins a major,
Oh, then it's
then
sky's
it,
the limit.
you know, you're looking at a lot. If it does decent in a major, you're looking at a lot. If it completely flames out, doesn't qualify for a major at all, you're still getting a good amount, but that's now you're on the lower end of it. So I think it's all dependent on the racing crew with that one.
Will we buy a cover from our close
Probably.
personal friend, Mile High Studs?
Yeah, probably. He did loan us a horse that we're still breeding, and shout out to him for doing that.
Also, shout out to him. I mean, he's proving that if you complain enough on social media, Ian will hook you up with an SS.
Yeah, that's how it works. No, I mean, it was a smart breed though, and he got the star roll here. I think that's almost the most important part of it.
Yeah, you got to be feeling great. I mean, you couldn't, to your point on what you're looking for from a early, grade jump. This is the horse you're looking for. For if you were to say, hey Bowser, what if we were to get the first SS colt? What would you want it to look like?
It would be pretty much this. Yeah,
so. It would be this. It's like you kind of can use it on both sides. It's got the good left dirt. And so, yeah, congrats. Hell of a, I can't wait. I mean, I will say it's going to be very exciting the first time we get one of these bad boys.
Oh, hell yeah.
And shout out to the game for making it 3 years old again for retirements. As much as I enjoy the 4-year-old series, and I don't think the more that I've thought about this is I don't think that restriction will actually change the way that we race. I think we're still going to race our good racers longer. And this is just going to allow us to either bench/retire and or get bad racers into the barn and get them spending some money in different ways.
Yep.
All right, let's before we remember Mr. Lee, let's just quickly take a gander at the what's new for season 35 in case you missed it. As we talked about the or stuff, I like all their puns with the words or. I like the hardcore pun. Yeah. I also like how we're getting the jackpot in the races.
Like that's the thing is the more research I did into it, the more I saw the way that these two ships can easily sail in the same direction and we can all kind of enjoy this stuff together. So shout out to any new or people that are getting involved in the game. And
yeah, use that code SGPN. Get into the Turf Club. We got a couple free rolls at the end of the month. We got breed discounts. We got giveaways, and worth noting, we have a ton of horses on the marketplace. If you're looking to get into the game and get in some cheap horses, we essentially have a bunch of $5 and $10 horses out there. We're selling them well below cost, and goal is that new players. We want to make sure it's easy to get in and get some horses. So check out our listings. All right, Bowser. So the schedule, the biggest schedule change that I've noticed so far early is the way they block scheduled and they trickle it out past 24 hours. So you're constantly rolling into the next window, which for good horses, this is excellent. You're going to have something probably at 24 hours because they're not only hitting the timing right, they're also making sure there's a soft and a firm preference. So I think that's been pretty nice. And then just in general, you see there's some other things changing here, like entry costs of the high court. They did some reductions on the entry, which I like that. They reallocated some of the points. The TLDR on points is I think they've done a pretty good job making the big races very valuable and devaluing the smaller but important races that allow us a place for other horses to run and be profitable, but shouldn't necessarily be getting anywhere near the quality points than someone willing to fire in a G1, 2, or 3. Let's see, what else do we have? There was a note, and maybe we'll get to it later, but there was a note that the purses for free rolls, the team essentially is reserving the right to flip them between Derby and Crown based on breeding volume, essentially. So, if you noticed last season, you might have gotten paid out Crown for certain types of free rolls. That lever essentially is going to be handled by how much breed volume we get, aka how much revenue they're generating that way. Let's see. And then the big one that I think was kind of just a mention, but they are going to treat undercards more like an actual race. So they're not going to they're gonna make it so you win some good coin at the top, and you don't necessarily get something for nothing. I think what this does is it carves out like the people that qualify or sneak in like we do sometimes, and those horses shouldn't be in there, and so them carving out a little bit of a Derby or Crown just didn't seem right.
Yeah, makes sense.
No real new changes to the schedule of Super Note. They are going to add some high stakes races, which could be fun. We'll see if they fill. I did like this. So the G1s are now, there's going to be 4 total, 2 on the first day, 2 on the last day. I kind of like this with that, the amount of points that you get, and the fact that sometimes in the middle of the season they weren't filling all the way. I love how this draws more attention to it. Now, I might rather have it week 2 and 3, so I'm not flying blind with the first one, but I kind of like the gamble. And then we might have to circle back to the hardcore races, Bowser. Now that we have a shitload of horses, could be a fun mess around. I think there's also some ore tie into that as well.
Yeah.
For those RIP, the 3-year-old redemption run series, we picked up some Derby in the last ever running of that, Bowser. This is good. This I think goes hand in hand with retiring.
Yeah, you should focus on the majors. So
well, and just if you're running in a redemption run at 3, you probably are getting retired, and so maybe it's, you know what I mean. And then if you run lower levels, S is now part of the low grade bunch, so it goes A- all the way up to S.
we already talked about those. Yeah.
Yep, already talked about the ore. And then I'm not I won't talk too much about this, but the spillover race concept, filling up buckets, not necessarily having a single race that you fill up. I have not seen that yet, so I don't know if it's actually active.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but it is a good idea, because it's like it would be better to like guarantee 3 races run or whatever instead of 1 fill up and 2 get canceled or something like that. So
think like poker. I mean, if you ever played poker and you are like in a tournament, tournament's probably a bad example, but they're not going to have a table of 8, a table of 8, and a table of 2. They're going to balance that out to where it's 6, 6, and 6. And so I think something a little bit more like that, especially not for all races, but certainly for, maidens come to mind as something that I think that would be beneficial too. Because I don't necessarily care. Just don't put more than 3 of my horses in a race and we're good.
Yep.
And then shout out to us. Schedule probably going to be Friday, and then the Derby. But stay tuned for week 3. And then last thing, they are making it so you can actually double up on majors. And so if you have a 5-year-old, they can also run in the 6-year-old. They're 24 hours apart, so you should be able to do a little bit more double dipping if you're into that. And I love how they put the Kentucky Oaks on Sunday, Bowser. I love this. Hopefully it gets a couple more people into the race. All right. With that, as I mentioned at the top of the show,
I have like 21 gun salute ready.
We have now I'm caveating this because obviously we've had horses go off to the pasture before, but this is the first horse that was with us from the beginning to the end. This was your first purchase in the game before I even got involved. And so I feel like it's did you want to say a couple? Let me cue up the music. Did you want to say a couple words?
Yeah, Mr. Lee, you hold on, let's get the music going.
Here we go.
Mr. Lee, some would say we were guilty of horse abuse with you, where we just didn't know where to run you. It was tough at times when Crown was trading at $2 and you were on the track, and we could get $80 in Crown for sending you out to get your ass kicked in a $20 race. But we had to do it. I hope you understand, buddy. It was a free $60 worth of Crown. Like, what are we, stupid? No, we're smart guys. But you left a lasting impact where our stable has now thrived, and you were the first piece of the puzzle. Your 8 stars shall live in forever. And so we will now do an 8-gun salute to celebrate Mr. Lee's 8 stars. Farewell in the pastures, Mr. Lee, and may your blood live through our stable forever.
Well said, Bowser. Well,
we got another episode to do.
yes, we do. All right. For Scott Bowser, the breeder of the season 29 Kentucky Derby champion, he's ready to gig. And for myself, Ryan Real Money Kramer, pour one out for Mr. Lee. We'll see you again next Friday. Breeding Bonanza. Tap in, tune in, and use the code SGPN to sign up so you can get into the Turf Club. Have a good one.
Saturday night and the lights go hot. SGPN on the mic at the Derby spot. Virtual Kentucky running live on the stream. 3 big races, 30 large in the dream.
10 grand heat after heat in the globe. Bed by flying down the line in the show. Paraquine pumping like a backstage drum. Photo finish live where the legends come.
Turn it up, let the numbers ride, and hear the chat roar. Worlds collide. SGPN run the show tonight. Derby in the clouds under neon light. Foals even tomorrow, new hopes rise. Monday brings the babies with fire in their eyes. Stack those bets, let the thunder roll. Every heartbeat locked in one big goal. SGPN, let the wild run free. Paraquine in my hand, feel the energy.
Hosts crack jokes while the gates line up. Crowds going crazy as they feel that